Could be an iPhone. I mean, it's an older iPhone also. Fancy now.
Let me try later. Hold on, let me see if it finishes before I...
Right now it's
Alright, so now it's refreshing.
Yep, it's working. It's an older iPhone also.
So, how do you...
It's delayed a little bit.
Oh. Yep. Let me try later. How do you solve the issue?
I didn't. I mean, it's working, but
Okay.
it's probably gonna...
Crap out again? Okay.
Priceless. Absolutely. Top secret. Quand les baguettes sont là, c'est bon, Jean doit être un homme heureux. La bouffe est assez extraordinaire.
Okay. See you around, right?
Mm-hmm.
C'est bien. Fait que j'ai juste donné de son programme, je vais dans la suite dans mon essai. Tout roule de notre côté. C'est pas bien.
He's running the main one. The big one.
you have a phone?
Huh?
Let me try this. Here, text. Here, text this to yourself. See how the live stream is working. What's the number?
917 795
7
95
795.
6036. Oh, that's so cool.
Okay, so open that.
Okay.
I'm going to test on both. I'm doing it currently on mine and.
Do I need the app for it or something?
No.
No, good. Did anyone switch and stuff?
What?
People switching still? And then give you a new one?
Oh yeah.
But you kept it
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
You updated it. Okay.
So go. Yeah. Go to. You get my text?
Yeah. You're using two?
Well, yeah. Just check. Because this one, I want to see the difference between using data on mine and Wi-Fi now. Because on Wi-Fi it keeps disrupting itself. So try to see how it would work with.
Gentlemen, is there a room someplace to leave this?
Yeah. In the next room, behind these whiteboards.
All right, thank you.
Careful. This is gonna be pissed because we're people. You have one of these?
What time it starts? No, that's right.
Oh, it's yesterday.
Just gonna
Welcome, Mark Z50 is over there.
It's 50.
Why are people in here?
So it's in 2 minutes.
Why can't I make a big screen?
You could, but you have a lock on.
What? Oh, you mean I have to turn it? I can't make a big screen.
You could, but you have the lock on.
No, but I can't make it full screen without turning it sideways?
Oh, because my phone is now sideways. Not sideways.
It's still not giving me full screen options there. Come on. Okay. What do you want me to check? You want this? I'll be back. Oh, yeah, Josh. If you need any help, I guess. Is my back?
Sure. Going back like you have.
My gray Logitech. So sorry.
Oh my god.
So sorry. Shh.
Our live streams are ruined.
I'm sure you'll get it by doing it off the phone as well. It's gonna take you like 30 seconds to get it back up.
Let's see, it's already taken me about 28. We're going on to 34. It's crazy. But it says trust, no trust, and then start answering questions. It's making noises.
Okay, I need my phone back at some point. I need my back.
This is left hand. Yeah, just if you wanna hang out, hang out. I mean, if you wanna do the presentations?
You can show me later, I guess.
I mean, it's very, very simple. You just have to. These are them. They're all in order here.
Oh, in the folder.
Yeah. On the desktop, there's a folder called Life Sciences. You just go round one and you just call them one by one. Very, very simple. So, and then you just start the presentation, and then the two things you have to remember, or a little bit more than two, which is you have to make sure at 5 minutes, which means 2 minutes are left, show them this. At 1 minute, at 6 minutes, you show them this. You set up the 2 timers.
Which one do I give them? It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, so you leave them with one, and you take one.
Do you use Adobe?
He's running around. What's up?
He's supposed to be my point person for. I'm working. So
But you're a volunteer, or you? What do you?
I'm just hired by them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then just you want to find there'll be. You can also find Jill if you'd like. Yeah, you can also look at him. You can stay here. One of them will run in here. Probably. Anyway, one of them will probably come here. You late or something? You look late.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I messed up everything. It's really stupid. I won't say it.
Accident? Accident. Tell us. Let's tell us now.
Oh God.
Wait,
Okay.
we have a live stream right there. Can you stand in front of the camera? There's two.
Sure. There's the microphones. Perfect. Oh God. Okay. I live in an apartment without an AC, so we put the fan right on the windowsill when it was all in my face. Sort of. Yeah. Okay. I recover real quickly. Good. Yeah. So. Yeah, I might have to explain that story to him later. Just don't. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Muriel. Kush. Nice to meet you. I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but I have various tasks.
I think it's about to start in a few seconds, so you probably, he will speak, you can speak to Jill, I guess, because he will speak at that room, and then you will see him coming out, and then you could make a little sad face.
I'm not making my little sad face.
You don't have to.
Okay. Okay, also I was given this. I don't know, someone thought it was.
The other starting in there, just so you know. Thank you. You don't have to. It's up to you.
So is no one pitching in the circle?
Yeah, you can be here. I'm saying, like, if you want to be for the panel, whatever it's going to be now.
invited later.
That's true. Thank you.
Located right here in Lakewood and in New York.
Oh, your boy's right there. On the chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I have your attention, please? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. There's a jam-packed program throughout the day, and there'll be plenty of networking time. Though we do have to get started with our first panel of the day, I think it's befitting to acknowledge our wonderful sponsors for their outstanding support of entrepreneurs and specifically the New York Venture Summit. I'd like to read off a list of our sponsors and then ask some of our sponsors to come up and give you a brief elevator pitch as to why they're here and what they do. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our title sponsors, Goodwin Procter, our diamond sponsors, Shepherd Mullen, our venture sponsors, Motorola Solutions Venture Capital, Columbus Nova Technology Partners, OCA Ventures, Robert Bosch Venture Capital, our gold sponsors, Flextronics, UNX Group, Morgan Lewis, the National Science Foundation, and One-on-One Development. Our silver sponsors, Shuffler, Moses and Singer, our marketing solutions sponsor, Get Response, and of course, our many industry partners. Please join me in thanking them for their support. For those sponsors that are here, I'd like to call a few to come up and again give a brief elevator pitch, which I think is befitting for their support of today's program. We'll start off with Reese Schroeder from Motorola. Yes. Owen, can we turn on that mic, please?
Well, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm Reese Schroeder. I'm Managing Director of Motorola Solutions Venture Capital, and we're very, very happy to be a sponsor of this event once again. This has always been a great event. This is my 5th time in attendance, and I think our 2nd or 3rd time sponsoring. It's a great opportunity to get the venture capital community together with some great entrepreneurs, lots of interesting stuff going on in New York and other areas represented here. Motorola Solutions, why are we here? Because what we do, just to be clear, is we're public safety mission critical communications company. We sell into public safety, police, fire, emergency medical technicians, but also into industries that use those kind of communications and collaboration technologies like oil and gas, petrochem. And so we're here to find, great companies to partner with, great venture firms to collaborate with, and to make some, lasting connections. And again, welcome to all of you.
Jim from OCA.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning. I wish you had taken down the lightning. Made it difficult for us, but nonetheless, it's great to be in New York. I'm originally from a New York family. It's a pleasure to be back. OCA Ventures is 15 years in business, 4 funds, 3 institutional. We are in 5 major categories on our website, but we focus quite a bit in technology and technology-enabled services. You'll see us in fintech, fin service and trade, IT, cybersecurity, consumer internet, mobile, and ed tech and healthcare tech. So that's a broad mandate, 9 investment professionals. We are thrilled to be here. It's a wonderful conference. I look forward to meeting many of the entrepreneurs, and thank you for the time.
Klaus from Robert Bosch, Venture Capital, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks a lot, Joe. So my name is Klaus Schmidt. I'm Managing Director of Robert Bosch Venture Capital in Germany. So we came all the long way here from Germany. We are glad to be here. It's a pleasure to go and support Joe and his team again. Thanks a lot for the organization here. We're always proud to sponsor such kind of events. And it's pretty important for us to be here in the East Coast of the United States, as we have an office on the West Coast, but no office here. So this is always great to have some events like this one here. Robert Bosch Venture Capital is investing in all kind of high-tech stuff. The Bosch Group is pretty diversified, so we do things in hardware, software, connectivity, IT, Internet of Things, services, energy efficiency, a little bit in healthcare devices and so on. So there should be plenty of opportunities to talking to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Klaus. Anyone here from Columbus Nova Technology Partners? Can come up, say a few words. Okay, we'll have them speak later on today. Sanket, can you come up from Flextronics?
So Flextronics is probably the largest $26 billion company you might not have heard about. But we pretty much build everything for everybody. And we're in every vertical, every market. And what we've been doing most recently is we've been engaging a lot with the VCs and the startups. So over the last year and a half, we've been working with most of the VCs in Silicon Valley, establishing partnerships where we basically help take what they have in their portfolio from a company standpoint and really help de-risk those by bringing you to market, product development, engineering, concept, all those stages, getting you into markets you cannot get to, getting you tied up with customers who we have, so you have a route to market for your technology. You want to go into different countries, we can help you there. Just to name some of the kind of things we've been doing, we helped Google with Chromecast, we helped Fitbit, just IPO recently. We have helped, we work here in New York with Quirky and others, so we're in a broad range of things, multiple industries, so definitely look forward to talking with many of you here.
Thank you very much. Ed Vaughn from UNX Group. I'm giving everyone 1 minute elevator pitch, 60 seconds.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. I'm with the UNX Group. We're an IT solutions group based here in the United States with several offshore offices to provide cost-effective services. And I ask you all to stop by our booth and get to know us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Morgan Lewis. They're not here to make opening remarks. Anyone here from National Science Foundation that can come up and speak?
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Konsek. I'm with the National Science Foundation. For those of you that might not know, we're a U.S. government agency supporting basic research in science and engineering education. My program at NSF is called the Small Business Innovation Research Program. We put about $150 to $200 million a year in early stage seed capital for startup companies. And if you have a high-tech company that is just getting started, you should come check us out. Remember the acronyms NSF, SBIR, and we also have a booth out front. We'd be glad to talk with you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. One-on-one development.
Bruce Swan, I'm the Vice President of Client Strategy and One-on-One Development. How many of you have a technology problem? everybody's hand should be up. Somewhere down the road, you have one, you've had one. Well, we believe that design and development is a problem-solving methodology. We have the ability to help you develop solutions without the cost that's associated with it. So iterative development, fantastic designs, proof of concepts, usability testing, validation testing, it's all part of one-on-one development. We look forward to meeting you outside.
Thank you. Shuffler.
Hello, I'm James Ontra, co-founder and CEO of Shuffler. Shuffler is presentation management. Presentation management is a new form of business communications that has been overlooked. Companies realize that if they put all their advertising in one place, they get better marketing. Put all their PR in one place, better marketing. Siebel came along and taught people that CRM, if you manage your relations, you get better sales. Well, when you're belly-to-belly to a client, or you're at an event like this, the presentation's more important than all of that stuff combined most of the time. Yet, it's left out of the marketing mix. Shuffler is presentation management. We make it easy. It's an enterprise SaaS business. We're right outside. Please come over and learn more. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Alan from Moses and Singer.
Thank you, Joe. We've attended the summit before, but this is our first time sponsoring, and I'd like to thank Joe for putting such a great event together. Moses and Singer is a 100-lawyer law firm. We've been in New York City since 1920-something. We're at the Chrysler Building. For the young companies out there, we have a lot of depth in taking you from the seed capital stage through later stage financings. For the venture firms out there, we are anxious to expand our funding relationships. We have a lot of deal flow, and we'd love to get to know you. We have a booth out there, so if we could stop by and speak, it would be great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Alan. I'll give Stephen Davis, chair of the New York Venture Summit and a longtime supporter of all the Young Startup Ventures conferences back in the day. When I first launched Young Startup Ventures, I connected with Stephen, and just an incredible relationship overall. All these years, I don't know if you remember the first place we hosted an event, Gaslight, was a bar. I think the first speaker we had was Howard Morgan from Idea Lab, who's now with First Round. And just over many years, tremendous supporter of the program, of entrepreneurs, has amazing connections, and what else can I say? So please join me in thanking Stephen Davis, who's chair of the New York Venture Summit, for his support of today's program. I'd like to say a few words on his firm, Goodwin Procter, and then I'll do a further introduction a little later.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joe. And I actually, I'm co-chair of the technology companies practice in New York at Goodwin Procter. We have a booth outside. We represent over 1,400 technology companies cutting across all segments of technology, from tech, life science, clean tech. We represent over 200 venture capital funds that invest in technology, the investment banks and public offerings, and this is what we do for a living. We just love representing what I call disruptors and revolutionaries in business.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Dr. Proctor. For some brief announcements before we begin the panel discussion. Okay. We're all here to find companies to invest in, to raise capital, to meet professionals who can help us complete transactions. I wish all of you good deal making today and high exit multiples tomorrow. In a few minutes, we'll begin our first panel discussion, just briefly going through the agenda so everyone is clear as to what's taking place today. At 10 a.m. sharp, the first group of companies will be presenting. There are 3 tracks of presentations for that round. Life sciences companies will be presenting in room number 1 and 2. Technology companies throughout the day will be presenting in this room. Clean tech companies will be presenting in room number 6, which is behind you. We'll be putting the wall down. And then EdTech presenters later on in the day will be presenting in room number 3. Following the first round of company presentations, there will be a break for networking in the sponsors lounge. followed by round 2 of company presentations, which will begin promptly at 11:40. At 12:50, we'll break for lunch in the sponsors lounge, and we'll then have an exciting keynote featuring Uri Levine, who's the founder of Waze. That will begin at 1:20 in this room. At 2 p.m., we'll kick off round 3 of company presentations. Again, the presentation schedules and the rooms are all listed in the event guide that you have. We'll have 3 concurrent panels titled Fundable Deals here in room number 4. That'll be the panel session, Fundable Deals. And our Fueling Capital for Clean Tech Deals panel in room number 1. Our report card for EdTech Innovation and Funding panel in room number 6. Those will be followed by an additional networking session at 4 p.m. At 4:40, we'll break out an additional 2 concurrent panels, one titled The Art of Negotiating Term Sheets here in room number 4, and another panel, Corporate Venture Capital, in room number 1. We'll then have everyone join us back in this room, where we look forward to raffling off 3 nano iPods. We'll also be announcing the top 3 presenters with the Best Presenter Award chosen by our VC judges for each of the tracks. Brief plug, we'll be hosting the New England Venture Summit on December 9th at the Hilton in Boston, Dedham. Those of you interested, you'll be getting some information about those programs. If you have any questions on that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us about that. The hashtag for today is NY Venture Summit, and we're also attempting for the first time to live stream portions of the program. With that, I'd like to again ask Stephen Davis, who's the chair, as I mentioned, of the New York Venture Summit, partner at Goodwin Procter, to start off and kick off the panel session. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very, very much, Joe. And, I would like to thank Joe Benjamin for all of his efforts over the past 15 years and his dedication to the New York venture capital community. No one, I'm telling you, no one has done more to create special events where all the elements of the venture community in New York can get together, connect, learn, and do business together. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2015 New York Venture Summit, our 15th annual New York Venture Summit. It's by far the most successful one we've had. Think about it, 15 years. If the New York Venture Summit were a play, it would be the 5th longest show running on Broadway. Only Phantom of the Opera, Chicago, Les Mis, and The Lion King's ahead of it. And I do believe Joe deserves a Tony Award for Best Director. Given that this is a big event, our 15th anniversary, I reflected back to our first New York Venture Summit. It was August 2001. Joe and I had held an event together before, and we said, let's hold a venture summit to get the New York venture capital community together. At the time, we were in the early stages of the dot-com bust. And for those who are relatively new in venture, just being around, and being involved in this for the last several years, you don't know what it was like when the dot-com bubble burst. It was bad. So, we were in the early stages of it, wanted to show there was a vibrant venture capital community in New York. May have been down, but was not out. Then September 11th happened, and Joe and I decided not only to accelerate the date of the event to early November, but to hold it downtown here at the J.P. Morgan Chase building, just 2 blocks away from Ground Zero. And I remember it was pretty eerie. It was early November. Smoke was still coming from the ashes of Ground Zero. Given the circumstances, the event was a smashing success. Around 75 entrepreneurs and investors attended. It had a highly spirited atmosphere, and it proved that the venture community in New York was not going away. And not only has the New York venture capital community not gone away, it's become a vocal point for venture. While all the attendees and panelists from that first meeting, from that first New York Venture Summit, were all from the New York metropolitan area. As Joe mentioned, for this summit, we have nearly 600 registered attendees from across the country and outside the U.S., with over 115 investors who come from coast to coast and internationally, covering all aspects and all segments and stages of venture, from angel to first institutional round, to later in growth stage, to corporate venture. We have entrepreneurs from every inhabitable continent not Antarctica yet, but every inhabitable continent. Frankly, this should be called the International Venture Summit, which just happens to be held in New York. And we welcome all of you. I too, like Joe, would like to thank all of the sponsors. Without the sponsors, we really can't do this. I'd like to thank them. I'd also like to thank the investors. Great events, great venture events require great investors. We have them today, and as I mentioned, over 115. As a few of them said, they're here not only to talk, but they want to meet you. They want to meet the entrepreneurs. For the past 14 years, I'd kick off this event with venture statistics from the prior year, to really put this event in context. And that was usually positive because 12 out of the last 13 years were very solid in venture. 2014 was no exception. Despite a daily backdrop of bad news headlines from debt problems to slow growth to geopolitical problems, venture was over $48 billion invested last year institutionally in over 4,300 companies, well above the figures in 2013 by more than 50%. And that was according to PricewaterhouseCoopers Money Tree. And as good as 2014 was, first quarter 2015 was even better. First quarter 2015 was the biggest first quarter since the dot-com bubble. And that was before we started doing these New York Venture Summits. Investment was $13 billion. This is institutional investment compared to $10 billion in the first quarter of 2014. And the surge was led by software. The $48+ billion invested in 2014, though, is just part of the amount invested in startup and early stage companies. It's just the institutional money that's reported by PricewaterhouseCoopers. Angel investment has expanded and is reported to be over $23 billion in 2014 in over 55,000 companies. And there are estimated to be many more friends and family rounds that are funding companies out there. Not only are the figures staggering, the dynamics too are trending towards increasing the universe of investors in early stage, as well as later stage. In early stage, incubators and accelerators are sprouting all over. We have a couple of incubators, outside. Crowdfunding platforms are out there covering broad industry groups as well as specific industries. And the class of later stage investor is increasing as well, with hedge funds and corporate investors becoming much more active. We're seeing more and more investment in unicorns. I never used the word 5 years ago. And we're now using the word decacorn, which I've never used. And we're seeing that frequently. There just has never been a better time to start or grow a company, and it's getting better. There are two parts of the mission statement for the Venture Summit. First, we want to create a forum with the entrepreneurs, help you understand the dynamics of the venture industry, to know what's going on out there, to understand the dynamics affecting fundraising. And there's no better way to understand that and to prepare yourself for fundraising than to hear the thoughts of experts. We have multiple panels today, as Joe mentioned, covering everything from the dynamics of venture, various industry segments, how to raise money, how to negotiate better term sheets. But second, and this is incredibly important, we want you to connect. We have over 115 investors here today. You've heard a couple of them speak. They want to talk to you. I'm challenging each of you to do your homework. We have in the back description of many of the investors who are presenting or on panels. They have their bios. Okay, find who would be a good match for your business in terms of industry and stage, and connect. Get their interest. That's what's part of this Venture Summit. That's what it's all about. Connect, connect, connect. We have a fabulous panel this morning with 7 panelists covering a broad range of investors, from early stage investors to later stage, from tech investors to life science investors to corporate investors, from New York investors to national investors. As I mentioned earlier, while our first New York Venture Summit had all New York-based investors just on this panel, we have New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and 2 from Chicago. Our topic is the changing venture world. What can we expect for the next 24 months? So I'm going to briefly introduce the panelists. The fuller descriptions are, again, I don't want to use time on this panel, but they're in the back of your book, the full description, the backgrounds and bios of each of the panelists throughout the day. I'm going to ask a few questions, then I'll open up the floor to questions, and that's really important. As I mentioned, part of the mission statement of this summit is to create a forum to help you understand, to help you become more knowledgeable in fundraising, in fundraising dynamics. And there's no better way to understand that than to hear the thoughts of the experts. So starting out on my left, Gil Beta, founder and managing partner of Genicast Ventures, a seed fund formed in partnership with Comcast Ventures to invest in technology-centric internet startups. Next to Gil, Jim Duggan, CEO, managing partner of OCA Ventures. Jim had briefly described its early stage fund, investing in many industries with a focus on technology, financial services, education, and healthcare technology. Next to Jim, Alessandro Pio, the partner and co-founder of Alpha Prime Ventures, a fund focusing on early stage investments in New York City, primarily enterprise. Next to Alessandro, Lisa Rhodes, Managing Director of Eastern Capital Investment Group.
May I have your attention, please? This is an administrative announcement. This is your Fire Safety Emergency Action Plan Director. This is a reminder of the annual Emergency Action Plan drill that will be held today. We'll be conducting a shelter-in-place exercise. Floor teams comprised of wardens, deputy wardens, and searchers. Please attend the brief coordination meeting at 9:30 at the 4th floor Building Management Office. I repeat, wardens, deputy wardens, and searchers, please attend the brief coordination meeting at the 4th floor Building Manager's Office at 9:30. Thank you for your participation in this important training.
Do we have any wardens or deputy wardens in attendance here? We'll have to leave at 9:30. Eastern Capital is a fund and investment early stage to pre-IPO in the healthcare industry. Next to Lisa, Reese Schroeder, Managing Director of Motorola Solutions Venture Capital. Reese is responsible for overall management of their corporate venture capital program. Next to Reese is Stacy Seltzer from Aisling Capital, a leading life science investment fund, investing in both private and public companies. And last but certainly not least, although alphabetically your name does start with a Z, TXU, managing partner of Carlin Ventures, an LA-based early-stage fund focusing on enterprise commerce platforms and marketplace investments, primarily in the West Coast. Although I know, TX has just had a big investment here in New York, right? Yeah, so not certainly not geographically constrained. So let me start off with Gil. Okay, topic is changing venture world. Next 24 months. What's changing, or is it just the same with more dollars being invested in companies?
Well, thank you very much, Joe and Steve, for inviting me. I think the next 24 months is a very exciting time in venture, both entrepreneurs and also on this side of the table here. I foresee sort of a double-edged sword. A lot more money is coming in to venture, a lot more money at the seed level, the early stage level, and fully support as many companies as possible that can get funded. I'm a big supporter of that. Let 1,000 flowers bloom. But I think the other side of that sword is that the new scarce resource over the next 24 months will not be capital, at least financial capital, will be human capital. As more and more companies get funded, we have a limited number of resources when it comes to engineering talent, sales talent, business, technical talent. What we're finding is that companies are able to get funded, but teams, it's getting harder and harder to build teams, especially in areas like New York, larger cities where there's a large ecosystem of companies. There's a large number of human capital resources that are going from company to company to company, staying maybe a year or 2 years at max, and then moving on. And there's a limited number of these highly competent experts, and what we're finding is that when you have 10 companies being funded, each one can have 10 great engineers or salespeople. When you have 100 companies now being funded, then each one of them gets one great engineer or salesperson. So as you think about building your company, I know a lot of you are focused on raising your next round, but at least from our point of view, we're asking the question, well, who's your team? And not only who's your team today, but in the next 12 months, have you identified those people who are going to be on your team and take you to that next level?
Okay, so, you mentioned New York, and that leads perfectly to a question for Alessandro. Alessandro is not only the founder of his fund, he's a prolific angel investor. He is a fabulous author. He wrote the book Tech in the City a couple of years ago, which is just about the growth of the tech industry in New York City. It is a fabulous book. I think it's required reading for anybody in the New York venture scene. Alessandro, I really do encourage you. What can go wrong? New York, I mean, for decades, it was always an afterthought, in the venture capital world. And since 2008, 2009, it's been, obviously just an incredible growth story. Etsy, came public just a couple of weeks ago, first multi-billion-dollar IPO of a New York tech company. Does this continue? What can go wrong? I think in your book you mentioned, issues regarding what Gil had mentioned, human capital, and also the cost of having a company in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen the acceleration in the past few years, but it's not something that happened overnight. It's something that has happened over the past 20 plus years, because it takes that long to build an ecosystem in any region. And New York has the attraction of having now enough talent, and also being the city it is, we have also a lot of customers. 15% of the Fortune 1000 are here, so that's an attraction for businesses, especially the type of businesses that can be mobile. And today, if you're a software company, it's easy to start it from anywhere you are, because it takes a lot less money, and the infrastructure of building a software company is a lot less expensive compared to 15 years ago. So people tend to come here because they're close to, there is domain expertise, there is customers, there is talent. Today New York is the second largest, if you look at just IT, information technology, today New York is the second largest ecosystem in the country, way ahead of Boston. If you include also life sciences, then it's sort of neck and neck with Boston in terms of size. Going forward, I think if you read the press of the past few years, one of the negative things that people were saying about New York, especially from the West Coast, was New York is growing, but there are no big wins, right? And I think what we'll see in the next year or two, unless we have market problems, you see a number of companies become public or the big wins in New York have been things like Tumblr that were sold for like $1 billion and other big sales. But now we're starting to see companies that are going public and remaining independent, like Etsy is one of them, but also Shutterstock went public last year and did very well. It's a multi-billion-dollar company in terms of valuation. And we'll see more of those because there is a pipeline of companies that are slated to go public. They are New York companies, and that will help a lot, give New York the gravitas and the staying power that it needs to sort of keep growing the ecosystem, because a lot of this money then will give liquidity to the investors and will be reinvested in a lot of companies in New York. So I think, again, if things proceed in this direction, which is a big if, New York is well positioned to keep growing. I think in terms of future opportunities, I think we're seeing, I don't want to go too long here, but we're seeing some new sectors also emerge, especially in the area of enterprise technologies. I think in the next few years we'll see more and more life sciences happening. There is a number of things that are happening in the sector, and entities like the Partnership for New York City are putting some money behind life science investments. So I think we'll see things happening, and Lisa would be very happy. Yeah. And so I think we'll see a number of new sectors also emerge that will be of interest and help the ecosystem.
Okay, terrific. Jim, let me focus on you. Your fund, clearly, of the panelists here, has the broadest mandate. Your tech, financial services, education, health tech. Are you focusing, now and for the next couple of years on, where do you see your greatest opportunity?
Thank you. So I'll answer that, but maybe second. I would like to just